Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 11 on the Growth Indic podcast. I'm Shane Chalupa here with co host Sam Lee.
Welcome, everybody. I think to recap what we just talked about, um, common theme with AI for a lot of our recent episodes, but specifically got into the progression of how two business owners have enabled themselves to leverage AI for internal business operations, client services, and everything else in between, even personal things. No matter where someone is in their journey, I think today's episode might speak to the early adopters as well as those who are very advanced. Um, and I think it will help kind of paint the picture of it's okay where you are in your journey. Shane and I are living kind of proof that there are ways to educate yourself and progress in this journey of leveraging AI. So definitely listen. I think there's tidbits that anyone can pull some really actionable takeaways, and we'd love to hear your feedback. What else about AI can we talk about? Is there anything specific about growing our businesses that you'd love to hear more of? So feel free to drop us a line, whether it's on LinkedIn, Instagram, our email, what have you. Don't be shy to reach out. We'd love to talk about things that really provide some value to you all. So thanks again, and we hope you enjoy this episode.
Yeah, enjoy.
What's up, Shane?
All right. Hey, Sam. We're almost halfway through the year here. I can't believe it's first week of June's down already.
It's insane, man. I will say before we talk about anything else, we haven't spoken in like 2 weeks, but it was really nice seeing you, man, in person. Memorial Day weekend. Couple friends, wife and I made a trip out to your neck of the woods, and it was awesome, man, just to catch up a little bit at least, and to see you in person after so many years, man.
Oh, likewise. It was amazing to reconnect in person and very serendipitous that your weekend vacation just happened to line up with not being too far from where I live in around the Allentown area. So it was a pleasure to get to meet you, your wife, and all your friends. And I was just excited that you all were there and to be able to meet up in person and share some good times.
Yeah, it was super cool, man. Hey, it's been 2 weeks. How's life been since the last time we reconnected?
Yeah, so 2 weeks into last connection, so that was right before Memorial Day weekend, and so we had some company in and visitors and my parents. It was a nice long weekend in order to kind of reset, spend a lot of family time. My brother has 2 young kids, so we were able to get the families together, and my girls were able to play with his 2 kids and get outside. It was a blast. We had a lot of fun, and yeah, the girls have finished up their official first year of preschool, so big milestone there with them completing it and kind of riding it into the end. Now we're heading into summer camp season for the summer and some extension on to their preschool summer sessions. So looking forward to that. And the weather's getting a little better. All of a sudden, it went from like March, rainy, cold to now it's 92 degrees. So we're right in the middle thick of it anymore. It's back and forth, but at least the sun's out. We're happy to get outside and everything. And health wise, man, we've been hit hard lately with just this like crazy viral like sinus type infection deal, cold, cough, all that. It's been kind of going around our house for a while. So I'm ready for that to be over and to everybody to have a clean bill of health. And on Mary's front, we're still waiting for some more test results to come back. And then for the actual oncologist, humologist to review that and let us know what next steps are. But there was nothing that came up so far that was like super high alarming. There's some indications, but nothing that they were extremely concerned about. It'll just be probably more testing and trying to narrow this down of what the cause is and then how we can address it. So more to come on that, and excited to get to kind of a resolution, root cause, and be able to share more with people so that way if they have something similar going on in their life, hopefully they'll be able to take away some value from the journey that we've been on and share in what we've learned.
Yeah, man. Try to keep positive. I know it's the hardest time when you're just, sitting with so many unanswered questions. Your mind can go to some weird places, but I know you're a positive guy, and yeah, continue to be the rock for the group and for Mary there. And yeah, I think a positive mindset goes a long way. So hoping that you guys get some good news and news quickly, so you guys can really kind of close this chapter and start moving forward from it.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. And on your side, what's been going on? How's the eye recovery going? Any big updates there? And then I know we might want to close out the Knicks. I didn't follow
Ah.
all of that, but I saw that they were not in the finals, so we'll have a little update there. And then any other personal updates?
Yeah, man, the eye is good. Went in for my final checkup. All is well. There was a bit of news that I was anticipating, but I wasn't anticipating this happening this soon. But I do have to have a follow-up procedure at some point, probably towards the end of this year, just to treat the lens. It's just kind of, an expected follow-up treatment surgery where long story short, the lens hardens up because there's some artificial fluid in there as a replacement during that initial surgery. So, all in all, it's kind of a gut punch that it's happening a little bit sooner than later. That's a
Hmm.
lot of kind of surgeries within a 12-month span. So, just grateful that we have it all under control now. There is clear route to full recovery and full vision regain and all that sort. So, nothing to complain about there. Man, as for the Knicks, yeah, that's been tough. We fought hard. Um, but what was crazy is that right after the season ended, the Knicks organization fired the head coach. I know it's a pretty split reaction right now. Some people are against it, some people are for it. But man, it's just insane how, there's just no time lapse between the end of the season and, the organization thinking about the future. I could probably pull out some sort of takeaways as far as how that applies to how we treat our business and whatnot. But for me, it's just straight personal. Like, it sucked. It was fun. It was a fun journey, a fun run. Came to a pretty rapid end. Um, but it was awesome to have something to cheer about for a couple of months there. Yeah, I'm proud of the team and looking forward to the next season.
Oh, that's awesome to hear the feedback, and unfortunate about the early end of the season. Of course, we want
Mhm.
to see them in the finals, but definitely nice when you have something that you're rooting for outside of work to kind of take your mind off of it and get excited about things other than than work. That's for sure. So always nice to have that and an outlet for engaging with sports or activities, anything along those lines. It's always beneficial for the mind and the spirit.
100%, man. And look, outside of that, kind of business as usual on the personal side of things. I mean, one quick shout out to my wife. It was our 3-year wedding anniversary the other day. So we sort of took the day kind of disconnected from our devices, just didn't go, too crazy, didn't do any traveling or anything like that. We just um, kind of was just present in each other's presence. Went out for some food and hung around the pool afterwards. So just a quick shout out to her. She's been such a huge supporter in every way imaginable. And it was just always a good time to be able to, celebrate such a momentous time as far as our marriage is concerned. And yeah, just really looking forward to life with her. And there's going to be a lot more challenges, a lot of great memories to be had as well. So it was a good day to kind of reset and not really think about anything else, but besides one another. So that was pretty special.
Wow, congrats. That's awesome. What a beautiful time to share and get away and disconnect. And that is going to be important throughout any relationship, whether it be your spouse or even, with team members at work, you could relate to that as well, where it's like it seems like a big lift to take everybody out and do some type of team building activity or re-strategize different sessions and things. But no matter what it is in those human relationships, when you have the time and space, disconnect from technology, connect on the human level, the tangible benefits are amazing and really help any relationship grow and flourish. And it's just so important, and make sure for everybody out there that you're checking in and ensuring that you're doing that on some periodic frequency. And then also some time for yourself too, because you got to reconnect with yourself, because otherwise you just get spread so thin and you're not able to really bring your best self if you're not investing.
Amen, man. I gotta say one thing with the weather has been great, but gosh, it is so tough on the running, man. Just the heat. I gotta find like better pockets of time throughout the day, whether it's like early morning or maybe late night. Actually, maybe not late night. I actually fell when I was running.
Oh no.
Um, I mean, I probably had a few too many to drink. This was the night that the Knicks lost. Tripped over something on the way home while running back. And so maybe not running at night, but maybe in the morning because, gosh, it is so hot. My heart rate is like so elevated on doing easy runs. But yeah, definitely enjoying the weather. I'm not going to complain about it because it was rough during the summer. Grass isn't always greener on the other side.
Yeah, for sure. I can relate. And I'm actually started back on my running sequence here
Nice.
and have just set kind of a low 2 mile a day every day, keep the doctor away regimen. So we're going to try and do that as I prep for a marathon. Fingers crossed. We'll see how my like early testing out here goes, make sure everything is all systems go. But we're going to prep for a marathon in November here locally. So that'll be exciting. And it's been great to get back out, but I can relate on the heat side because running in the winter and then having a long break and the weather being pretty cool up until essentially early June here, and then going right to 92 degrees when out running, it's like my body definitely has not adjusted to that. I will admit to that fully.
Yeah, I got to be less stubborn. I got to like bring some water with me. I have this like David Goggin mentality when I go out. Like I love running fasted, but man, with the beaming sun, I think it could get quite dangerous when you're logging in some longer runs, um, and that's probably affecting my heart rate as well. So yeah, just a different type of running right now, but truly enjoying it. Are you saying wait this November you're gonna run a marathon?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna be ramping my training for a kind of pseudo replacement for the event that I was supposed
Yeah.
to do in the spring. Luckily, the protocol that I took to rest and heal and recover the Achilles, knock on wood, has so far worked. And so I've been ramping. This will be the second full week of actually being running on it every single day, at least. In some, or not every day, but doing at least 2 miles of cardio every day, and that could be walking. So I'm walking some of those days with the family and stuff. But trying to get the running up there and baselining, and then we'll be ramping after my little 3 week trial run here to make sure everything is all good. And yeah, it's gosh, I think it's November 19th around that time frame. So yeah, I think you've got yours coming up in October.
I think it's the first week of November.
Oh, nice. Okay,
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, November 2nd,
nice.
Sunday. I mean, probably a little too early for this question, but if you don't, let's revisit it after maybe this little ramp up period that you're going through. But would love to know if you have any goals for the marathon. If it's just to finish injury free, if it's time, or if it's how you feel, whatever the case may be. Curious if you have any thoughts around goals.
Great question. So for me, historically not being a runner, I'm only, I would say, like 10 months into long distance running right now. And I think before this, I probably had never run more than 4 or 5 miles at a clip. And so last fall, the same event, actually, I ran the half marathon version in November. And my goal there was just to finish. And I ended up, I think I was like a one, right around 148 maybe, or 138. I can't remember. But in any
Nice.
case, I had a decent pace and a goal that I set before I went into the event. And I'll probably do something similar where, based on my training and everything, my goal is just to finish without having to walk, of course, for me. But then as I get closer, I'll probably try and set a goal, and I'll largely probably try and just match and double my total duration from my first half because I have a lot more training time this go around. And so hopefully I'll be able to kind of beat my first leg in this one and then kind of probably be a little slower in the second leg, but hopefully that average will be about the same. And yeah, right now it's just to finish and finish healthy, remain healthy in the training, and investing a lot more heavily in massage work and recovery work, and really making sure that in equal parts my training is matched up with recovery and rest and all of that, because it's when you push the system too much and it breaks, it takes a long time to heal and recover. So especially as I've been getting older, it's not like it used to be 20 years ago doing something.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. I had to learn the hard way, but rest and, low impact recovery runs go a very, very long way. Not even for just the overall mileage count, but like you said, the time that you're, on the shelf from a little kind of nagging injury or even a slightly more serious one, that's the most detrimental thing that you could introduce to your training block. So, excited for you, man. I'm glad that you're able to find something to work towards physically. Um, I know it was kind of a bummer that you had to bow out of that initial. I think it was the Spartan race, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you were
Yeah,
going for a Spartan Ultra, and we're going to reschedule for that for next year. So this marathon is a nice milestone on the way for it. And I would say the other thing that I had found, and I don't remember the specifics offhand, but there are some non I don't even know, I guess non-regulated, more supplemental type things that you can do for injuries that I just found out about recently. I didn't actually do it in this case, but there are some injectable like almost vitamins and different things that are more, they're natural. It's not like an unnatural thing. I forget the exact names. I'll have to look them up and then we'll revisit it. But just know that there are some natural injections out there now to help with reducing inflammation and things like that. I'm sure the professional athletes and all of them have rapid access to these things, but I was not aware of these, and I had saw it come through on my Instagram feed of somebody who's training for an ultra marathon, had an Achilles injury, and literally did this therapy, I guess is what they would call it. And they did it, and I think within a few days it had resolved just by reducing inflammation and accelerating the healing in the very specific zone where the injury was. So just know, if you do have something out there like that, there's all kinds of new things coming up that are a lot more mainstream. I also know PRP, and um, there's just so many awesome therapies out there now that can help accelerate the healing.
that's awesome, dude. Awesome. Yeah, got to use all the resources around you, man.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It's I wish I had known about it 2 months ago, and I would have definitely invested and trialed it. But by the time I saw it, I was already through my entire recovery process. But good to have on hand for the next time.
Yep. What about on the business side, man? Let's dig into Obnova. We just spoke a little bit about this pretty huge proposal that you put into. Well, you put a proposal into. Outside of I mean that plus anything else professionally that is worth updating the folks on.
Yeah, I'll do a quick update. So right as we were hopping on, I was saying I was a few minutes late because I was actually putting the finishing touches on a proposal that I sent out, which is 4x the largest proposal that we've ever put out before. And that seems overwhelming, but I actually have accumulated a really great network over the years of trusted partners, subcontractors, all of that, as well as have lots of systems in place to help manage a project of that size if we were to actually award it. And I don't know that we have the highest potential to win this one outright, but I think there's a potential to get some of the parts and pieces just given the nature of this bid and proposal process. but still it was a relatively low lift generation of the proposal based on a previous one and the same team. So we were able to put that all together pretty rapidly and get it out. And it's really exciting to be in the mix for seeing our proposal sizes growing as the business is getting a little bit more mature in these early in this early infancy phase. And yeah, it's just exciting to have opportunities like that. Additionally, there's been a few other big ones. 3 weeks ago, onboarded an EA that we're using full time now, which has been really a big unlock to get me out of my email, out of my calendar. So it's a little bit of an investment right now, obviously, in my time to get them trained up to be an extension of me, per se. But the I've already seen the rewards and some of my time coming back to me through that investment. Just again, getting out of email and having my schedule all kind of preset and having somebody manage that, as well as then putting them on kind of the other research, different smaller projects that I just don't have the time to get into that I would need to. So that's ramping and it's been an investment again, but it's definitely already seeing benefits and return on investment there. And can only imagine when we look out 6, 12, 18 months from now, looking back, what it's going to feel like. So, really excited about that. And that was done strategically with a lot of these bigger proposals going out, knowing that I'll need to be focusing in on managing the work and then the systems in place to make sure everything goes smoothly. And beyond that, really have been deep diving into AI in the sense of bridging the gap from zero practical use. I've always been a user, but there was this level of like just kind of very basic awareness and usage in a very unstructured way, and then or even if somebody was at zero usage, kind of that level, the very low level, to now filling the void on the ladder between kind of level 1, level 2, and now getting into kind of heading towards more autonomous AI activity and in the business. So have been investing heavily and I'm actually working on spooling up some exciting stuff for people. Hopefully, a couple different programs and offerings that are going to be coming out here in the summer and fall that will be tailored towards my particular audience, especially small businesses and the infusion of the engineering firm structure, professional services arena that I'm in, and helping people in that space where engineering work processes, workflows, and businesses meet practical AI.
It's almost like you're finding ways to make your process more streamlined through, large language models or other AI
Mhm.
tools. And you're just sticking to one of your big mantras of give value for free,
Yep.
right? You're wanting to give it out. Eventually, you'll productize it. It'll be a service that you provide, um, and that's so cool, right? Sometimes it's hard to just sit back and think about services and what you want to sell, but when you
Hmm.
figure out a problem, especially if it's for your business, right? If it's a true challenge, it's a big time suck, and you find ways to kind of unblock a lot of things. Um, there's a lot of other people and businesses that can benefit from that. So I love that approach. I would bet that mostly everybody who has some sort of job right now can take a similar approach. And maybe if they're a W-2 employee right now and they're leveraging AI in some way, they could probably start a side business by talking to people like themselves and sharing and teaching and enabling on how they're using AI to make their day to day a little bit more simple. So I love that approach. I think you're going to have so much more to share um, about your experience and kind of just your growing knowledge with all of these large language models that are available to us.
Thanks. Yeah, I would agree. And it's been an interesting dive for me because I've always been a systems person. Even in engineering, we're designing systems to make things. And I always enjoyed that. And then I've matched that up with this kind of building business and how things operate and taking a similar approach to it, of like how we would design the systems for these companies to manufacture actual products and hard goods, you have a business that is going to operate and has these systems and operating procedures and flows, and it's really exciting to try and deep dive, uncover those unlock areas where there's a lot of opportunity. And now for me, the light bulb really went off with just you don't have to be a programmer, you don't have to have all these special softwares. Like, honestly, a simple ChatGPT Claude subscription, 20-ish bucks a month, and you can buy back at least minimum, even if you were using it at a very low level, 2 to 8 hours a week. I mean, it is that powerful, and it's just about the framework of how to use it. And I think there's a lot of information out there. It's overwhelming. I was in that place, and now I've had that unlock of like, okay, here's the baby step. Here's level. You're starting at the base level 0. How do we get to level 1 where we're just like using it all the time in a very effective way and having the framework there? And then the next one is kind of getting to more advanced stuff that we've talked about, like custom GPTs, custom projects, some automations heading more towards level 3. But yeah, it's been really exciting and a big unlock for me, and something that I found way more energy for as of late than anything else I was doing. So just following the passion and the energy there to live at that intersection of engineering, building an engineering business, and then also how do we do that? I'm sharing how I'm doing it internally and helping other small businesses in the technical space leverage AI at a very, very like simple, straightforward level and really see big ROI. And that's only a starting point for the AI journey for them.
Yeah. You're not doing any like coding, right? You're more kind of using it as, I mean, there's probably so many use cases that you're leveraging AI for, but is it mostly, kind of uploading knowledge in the form of like documents and leveraging it as some level of like an expert in this kind of section within your industry versus like actual doing like vibe coding and coming up with like software things of that nature? Is it more on the side of like, I want this expert virtual assistant like person that knows everything about the business and can extract from thousands of files to get me the um, best answers to help direct what I'm trying to do today?
Yeah, I would say no, I'm not doing any coding. And the more advanced stuff, like a lot of the things that you see maybe online on TV that are published in mainstream media, ads you're seeing, like those things are high level. Those are what I call level 3. And there's like 3 kind of buckets there. So level 1 is just kind of daily usage. Level 2 is you're working alongside of AI interactively, and it may be doing parts of it in an automated fashion, like some scraping, and it's pulling data for you. But you're in human in the loop. Level 3 is like fully autonomous, so think self-driving car and or taxi, robo taxi, all that fun stuff. And the to be honest, the coding and all of that fully autonomous agent type stuff is in that higher level. And the unlock for me was I was sitting there like seeing the hype of like, oh my gosh, all these people are automating their businesses, blah, blah, blah. Like I can do that. And then I started to do that early, even if you look back through our podcast, like we were starting to talk about that months ago. And I got to this point where it's like, man, it's not clicking yet. And the unlock was I really needed to fill my knowledge base from level 1 to level 3 to understand the range. And then the other part is you have to get your systems, your house in order so that way you can actually effectively use the LLMs like a ChatGPT or a Claude to get what you want. And right now, the first step is understanding that, okay, I need to have a paid version. I need to understand the data privacy here. And then the next step in my mind was the mindset and habit shift of anytime I'm thinking something, whether it's a question or I'm feeling stuck or whatever it is, going to your choice LLM and using that as I think of it, the expert in your pocket. And so it's like if I am needing to reframe my mindset because I'm just in a bad mood, it is there. And if you have a structure for how to prompt it either on the fly or you have a GPT that you can go to, it's really exciting because you can just start talking to it and it will give you responses based upon all of the data that's out there and help you kind of shift your mind. And then the other unlock is training your particular LLM, giving it your background so it starts to learn you and tailor its responses to be more effective with you. And that was really kind of like the very foundational building block. And now taking that and putting it into the business of just making custom GPTs, custom projects, custom Claude projects, and leveraging those as what I'm calling like assistants, where we are building a knowledge base. It has files and information that gives it context of what we're trying to do with our company and also personally. And then it can complete different tasks based on repetitive things that we might do.
Yeah. Have you spoken with any of your clients about um, so the clients enabling AI usage, and have you helped them, guided them in kind of creating a system, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude? Have you done anything like that yet with one of your clients?
Yeah, so we've got some exciting stuff. I am diving in and helping a few different folks build some GPTs and guiding them on like when to use a GPT, custom GPT versus a project, which you can do a project now in Chat GPT or in Claude, when you might use one LLM over the other. I'm also trying to stay at the forefront of all the different tools that are coming out like daily, it seems. It's exciting times right now because you have so many tools at your disposal, and really any of the LLMs are super powerful independently. And I'm also engaged to give a training, what I'm calling practical AI for engineers foundations training. So I'm going to do that for a group of a private engineering company that has a bunch of different people who are at various levels. And so there's no cohesion or plan there. But I'll be giving that a half day training on that coming up here later this month and just getting them set up with some groundwork, some ground rules. And from there, it will probably sprout into, once you see and have your basic knowledge, then you can kind of start to see opportunities in the business. And from there, it'll become more of customized implementation support. And I'm partnering with a great team, somebody that I know from one of my programs, and they actually, when you talk about like the higher level vibe coding, hardcore, like how to do specific things and even making and productizing agents, I have a great partner that when we get to that point, we'll definitely be engaging and integrating their team with our team as we build up and expand into the kind of AI enablement for the engineering space.
That's gonna be so much fun. I'm gonna have so many questions for you. Like I'm really curious what um there might be we're so pro AI in terms of leveraging it. I mean there's some environmental concerns around it, which I think we should all be kind of aware of. Um, but there's probably people that are just resistant to even trying it, right? So I'm curious when the time comes where you start, providing these trainings, um, what those commonalities might be. What are the pushbacks that you're getting? Because I think that could be interesting to talk about as well. Kind of the other side of this table. Um, what is that common denominator of amongst the folks that are less inclined to try this, right? Is it fear that it might take over their jobs one day? Is it distrust that it's not good enough? Really curious to dig into that a little further when the time comes. So, but very exciting, man. That's an awesome. I think that's just an awesome service. I think it's going to be needed in so many industries at various levels. It doesn't have to always be this, like you said, level three agentic AI experience where you're working, but you don't even have to be at your computer type thing. Of course, that's like the ultimate goal in some capacity. Like that would be great. Um, but there's so many other more basic ways to be leveraging it.
Yeah, and that you explained it so well there. It was really when I was trying to look at like how do you actually leverage AI in your business? I had to really go find a resource, training, development, and then start thinking about okay, my business specifically, and then other professional services and small businesses who are in the same boat, and maybe even have a little bit less of an inclination or even a resistance to using it. How do you just how do you get started with it? And I've really been able to, at least for myself and for other people that I've talked to, get it boiled down to here are kind of the fundamentals. Let's like get the fundamentals down first, and then you can start seeing the potential and possibilities. And it's also doesn't have to be a linear crawl, walk, run, sprint type activity. Like your personal knowledge, you can be doing it kind of in that progression because that's just going to be the natural way. But at the same time, there are some really good AI agentic offerings out there that are ready to go today that could help small businesses. If you're running a B2C business, that's a services business, plumbing, carpentry, any of the beautician, aesthetic, all of that stuff. And if you have a front desk person, I'm not saying you don't need your front desk person. The thing is, your front desk person, your kind of admin, they can do higher order, higher level, value added, maybe even revenue generating tasks. And answering the phone and scheduling can be fully automated and it is successfully done today. If anybody is interested in that, please shoot me a DM on Instagram at Shane Shalupa. Again, I know the right people who are doing this have the expertise, the product built, they're operational with. An example is a plumber who doesn't need to answer the phone anymore. The whole scheduling process is automated. It can go through emergency versus more routine scheduled work. It can get it all the way through drafting up a preliminary proposal. And then they just come in, review all of that, and get it ready to send. But they no longer have to have somebody else or themselves answering the phone, drug out on all these other admin tasks. They can just focus on doing the craft, the trade, the skill that is ultimately making them the money.
Man, I will say, I don't have a dev background, a web development background. Um, Before I even say that, definitely hit up Shane. His network is vast when it comes to this stuff. I've learned a lot just from joining a few calls that he's invited me to. So definitely take him up on the offer to shoot him a DM at Shane Chalupa. Um, but I also wanted just to say that, as someone that doesn't have web development as his kind of core skill set, I've been really impressed with how ChatGPT, just through vibe coding, and what vibe coding means is honestly coming up with actual code, whether it's for a particular tool. In my case, I wanted to come up with some Python scripts to automate some of the tasks that I'm looking to do. ChatGPT has been really great for someone that knows nothing about Python to be able to spend, I think it was 4 to 5 hours one day to come up with a fully functioning tool to do something really extraordinary in the SEO space right now. Um, this would not have been possible 12 months ago. Um, and it's really remarkable that we have such technology available to us. I will say just a quick tip for all of my SEOs out there. I think we started to talk about this a little bit during the last episode, but Google AI mode is my big prediction for this year is that the way that we search on Google is going to get replaced by Google AI mode in the very near future. It's exactly like the experience that you have on ChatGPT. It's a very just conversational user interface. But I think that's going to be the next phase of how we search on Google. Now, why I bring that up is because the way that Google AI mode retrieves information to then present an answer to the searcher is vastly different from how Google search does it today. And so to all my SEOs out there, here's two tips that I would give you. One, grab the Google AI mode content, AI mode patent, search for that, chuck it into any, preferred LLM tool to have it summarized for you and really understand the tech. What that's going to help enable is tip number two is to do vibe coding, to do vector embeddings and cosine similarity. It's a fancy way of saying that you're going to start understanding your website the way that Google AI mode assesses your website. So if you're curious, reach out to me. I'll give you some literature to help, get the engine running. I'll give you some starter prompts to help vibe code this Python notebook that'll help you literally just drop in a website domain or a list of URLs, and it'll output something that looks similar to the way that Google AI mode looks at your website. That's how you begin to start reverse engineering and understanding what you need to do for your website to be more favorable and more compatible for Google AI mode to surface your content in its results. So that everything that I just said right there, I was able to do within a day of work just through vibe coding. And of course, know, there's probably an efficient way to go about vibe coding. You have to give it context. You have to give it good feedback. You have to be pretty organized in the way that you interact with it. I would highly suggest creating a project within ChatGPT if you're using ChatGPT for that. Although you can go back to your conversation history, I find that a project is a little bit more. It's kind of an internal environment that you can interact more specifically about a specific kind of outcome that you want. So yeah, I know that might all that to say, it might sound very kind of ethereal, like it's not really tangible. So definitely reach out to me. I'll walk you through some starter prompts and give you some literature. But the days of having to have web dev knowledge to reverse engineer search engines, that those days are over. Any SEO has the tools, has the smarts and the wits to be able to do it now, and it's going to be a huge opportunity and a big unlock for a lot of people in this industry.
Wow. That is huge. Thank you for sharing that. I know a lot of people out there in the SEO space are going to benefit tremendously. And if they're interested in taking you up on your offer there, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, I'm active on LinkedIn, so just search for Sam Lee. It won't be too hard to find me. Key Rise Consulting, Growthentic Podcast. But yeah, Sam Lee on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And it's interesting because you're seeing now this transformation and transition that we've been talking about, and it's really exciting to kind of rewind in our minds back to January, February timeframe and how rapidly this is all changing. Literally, what isn't it? Google AI mode just dropped like within the last 2 weeks,
Mhm.
and almost every day there is something new changing on the LLMs. There's new features. Like I was on a call on Wednesday, and literally the week before in our meeting, the LLMs were set up traditional. All of a sudden, both ChatGPT and Claude dropped connectors at the same time. And now you can connect up, and we're diving into that a little bit to learn more. But it is changing so rapidly, it's insane. But the other visual depiction analogy of this is, and historical examples that I like to go back to are, I have two favorite ones that I've been going after right now, and it's the there's a picture out there of Manhattan downtown back in the early 1900s, and there's horse and buggy in the 1 year picture, the dated picture, and it's all the streets filled horse and buggy everywhere, right? I think it was 13 years later, that same exact spot, same exact photo, no horse and buggy. Okay, and that was like nearly 100 years ago. Okay, And so the rapid change here is going to be on the order of months. Like that's how fast things are changing in this environment. And so if you take that complete transition of the mode of transportation and how that changed completely to now what that means for every single business out there and what you're doing, that transition, it might have been 13 years way back when. That is on the order of the next 0 to 36 months. This is all going to be transforming businesses. And the thing about it is to just, that can seem overwhelming, I know. Just, I mean, really getting awareness, reaching out, finding people, educating yourself, and understanding that once you know the basics and you can see how to apply it and you're in the right rooms, there are lots of resources out there who are going to be able to help you, enable you, and are jumping on this opportunity to help people integrate this so they don't get left behind, and there's other transitions out there like when the internet came along, and then there's in my industry, in the engineering industry and design industry, I like to think about blueprint drafting. And those of you who aren't aware, way back when, it was just a bunch of draftsmen, people doing things out on actual blueprint paper in an office filled with drafting boards. That, as soon as the computer was invented and then they also had computer aided design became mainstream, no one else out there anymore is doing blueprint drafting unless it's for some like hobby or some very specific niche case. But no one is doing that. It's all digitally done now. And that's just like one software platform and tool to replace one kind of task that those folks were doing. AI is so powerful. It can do every task and hat and area and employee. It can enable them to work at a higher level to reduce time to get results and make better quality outcomes for you in so many ways. And I'm excited to share more about that as I'm going through this journey and also creating the materials. I've been pitching it out there. Reach out to me on Instagram at Shane Chalupa, Chalupa. And if you DM me cheat sheet, I will send you out a single page cheat sheet for those of you who are kind of at the zero ground knowledge, like you're maybe even skeptical about AI. Just get my cheat sheet and it will give you enough information to say, like, okay, I've got my feet under me now and I can kind of see what's possible and just how to use it to make your day better. And I guarantee you, the first time you read that, you use it the next day, something in your life will be better. And likely it's going to save you at least an hour of your time for one thing or another. And that could be both personal or professional or both.
Absolutely, man. Well, look, what's one thing that you're working on in the next 1 to 2 weeks from an AI enablement standpoint
Yeah.
that excites you the most?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, in like my big focus is internally, and I'm really just sharing my journey as I go. I'm documenting everything that I'm doing so that way I can and share and help others with their enablement journey. Two things for me actually. One retroactive one is I read a book specific to AI in the what's called the AEC, architecture, engineering, and construction industry, which is a little bit of an offshoot different from my specific area that I play in and my niche, but it's very relevant and built around engineering consulting companies. And I finished that book up and I loved it. It's called Augment It, and it is a really great intersection of like technical engineering, the possibilities of what can be done out there in my space of what an advanced solution today looks like, or even this was probably a year or two ago when it was written and released, but it gave me an insight and a window into the future of what things are gonna be, and now I can kind of be at this lower level helping people come up. The rising tide lifts all boats, help them come up, and then from there we can start getting into these more advanced, like even deeper, exciting, higher ROI, more complex projects. So that was one retroactive thing that I just finished up, super excited about, and then internal implementation. The big thing for me right now is working on upgrading and solidifying are marketing and sales assistants, which for me look like projects in any of the LLMs that you've got, whatever they're going to call it. Let's call it ChatGPT or Claude projects. So I am building out I already have built out the entire back end, and I can utilize it for various tasks that a typical marketing expert that I would hire would do for me. I can now do that myself or have the EA get it started. And then I am just doing like the initial ideation, and then I'm doing the review and touching up, and it's catching my voice, my tone, and all of that and conveying it, and I'm then making sure like, okay, this is authentic, and then putting it out there. It's just accelerating really the creative writing process for me, which as an engineer, I don't love to write. I don't love to sit down and do all that. But now I can literally talk to this particular assistant that I've developed, and it will give me the outputs that I need, and in a very structured, regimented, high quality way, and increase the throughput there. So we're in the process of launching that and turning that on fully and expanding it, for both the marketing and sales assistant. And then the piece that I love is internal operations. So documenting SOPs, which we got a pretty good library built out, but now housing those inside of another assistant that can be an operations hub, or it could be multiple hubs depending on how your business is structured and works. But just having that framework and understanding of how to organize it all and utilize it has been big the big aha moment for me. It's incredible.
Nice. Going back to the sales and marketing, that so the output would be something like a LinkedIn post, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Yep.
you can. I've got set up for anything: LinkedIn, Instagram, Reels, YouTube Shorts, YouTube Longs. I actually just built a GPT, custom GPT that helps if you have an idea or you have past training material or just a transcript from a training that you did. It will organize it and put it all into a really high end teaching framework that I've gotten, and give it so that way it's like engaging, compelling, and really speaks to your audience. It can just tune that up for you. So then if you're going to go do a training or if you're going to shoot a video, whatever it is, you have that framework all done for you. It spits it right out and you're ready to kind of locked and loaded for filming and or training.
Yeah, I got a LinkedIn strategist custom GPT that I use. It's been nice because if people out there that know LinkedIn posting, um, I think first and foremost you want to be authentic. You want to give free value. You just don't want to add to the you know crap that's already kind of flooding your LinkedIn feeds. Um, but even little things like how many character counts can you have on your post before you see the read more button, because you want to entice the click to continue someone's reading experience of your post. Those are all little specifications that you can add, whether it is a project in ChatGPT or a custom GPT, and then of course your voice, right? Pick out a few of the posts that you love that got a lot of engagement, understand or feed that to your custom GPT or project so that it learns the style in which that you prefer your posts to be in. Shaves a ton of time. And the beautiful thing is that as an example, I have a slide deck that has so much great information that speaks to um, some of the services, strategies, tactics that I want to start selling in this age of AI search. Um, I could have spent hours just thinking about LinkedIn post ideas, whereas now I can just feed that to my custom GPT, and it'll kind of calendar out however many posts I really want. Um, it's a big time saver. I think one thing that we don't talk enough about, and you sort of mentioned it before, is when you just don't want to do something, right? When you just don't want to write that post, when you don't want to read through that article, that's where AI could really help as well. Just get you over the hump, get through that task that you don't really want to do by yourself. I think there's value add from that perspective as well.
Oh, big time. That's been another huge unlock for me is a lot of times I noticed I put off doing something because of two main reasons. One is my energy level, And two is it's complex and I don't know the pathway right out of the gate. And the trick that I love is I always used to be like, well, even if I'm using AI, I still got to come up with the prompt and I got to do all this. Nope, not anymore. So, one piece of this is to talk to the AI conversationally. And you don't have to be so structured and like you're typing out a paper for, something, some like super deep research paper. Like just talk to it conversationally. It is going to interact better that way. And the second part is this is the big one, ask it to interview you. If you're like, oh, I don't have any ideas right now to write some LinkedIn posts, or I don't have any ideas for my training yet. I know I need an outline and I need it to be this long. Okay, well, then you can have it interview you on this topic to start getting the knowledge out of your brain and just have it I like to do question by question. Hey, ask me these questions and or generate 10 questions to extract this knowledge and ask it to me one at a time. And then the nice part about that is you're breaking the task down into really, really small pieces and it's super digestible. And the other part is for those of you out there who have kids, especially little kids, and you get distracted and or interrupted in your day, you can literally start that conversation, finish question one, push it in there, and then it's saved. And then you pick it up the next day and go to question two, and you can make progress in these very small windows throughout your day, or if you're getting interrupted of whatever's going on in your life, and it's all saved right there for you. Once you get that output, then you have all of the background and really the information and the thoughts and the ideas out, and then you can use AI to manipulate that into whatever format you want. I mean, you drop that, you tell it to give you a presentation outline, drop that all into Gamma and get a presentation within 2 minutes. You finish your interview, it will optimize the transcript and the outline for you and put it all into an organized thought process framework if you want it, and then you just pop that over into Gamma and then you got a presentation ready to go. It's exciting because all of that stuff used to be so energy dense and time consuming that now you can literally get your thoughts out of your brain onto a medium to convey to others in such a rapid pace, and that is super exciting.
Yeah. No, the possibilities are endless. Um, I will say, if anyone listening isn't, maybe you guys are using large language models here and there, typical, well, similar to how, you previously would use Google search when you had to ask for some information. I would strongly encourage you just to spend like 20 minutes a day. Pick a time where maybe your energy is depleted or you have the energy, whatever the best time might be for you, and just kind of learn about the different large language models out there and give yourself the time to go on your social media of choice. I would recommend LinkedIn. I think there's a lot of great conversations around AI, on that ecosystem, and really go down a rabbit hole. Give yourself 20 minutes to go down the rabbit hole and just learn. The reason why I say give yourself a limited time to do that, you could really get really deep into things where it creates inaction for you. You can get that feeling of being overwhelmed and not knowing where to start. But if you go into that 15, 20 minutes of your day knowing I'm going to let myself read about whatever I want just to get a little bit more familiar with it, and then you just leave after those 20 minutes and say, job is done. I promise you, you do that every single day, the compounding knowledge that you'll gain just from putting yourself in that space, I think you'll thank yourself. I think there's a lot to learn, but just kind of do it responsibly because it could really, yeah, it could cause inaction, as weird as that sounds. I mean, I think you're speaking to two people that could have easily been too overwhelmed to do anything when it comes to AI. But it all started with education, giving ourselves the time of day to learn about it, and then finding challenges in our business and finding ways to kind of overcome that.
Oh, big time. Yeah, I would say I probably even did get overwhelmed, and then that led to inaction, which a lot of times if you're overwhelmed with information or you're feeling like you're left behind already, you can then get into this point of like, I'm just going to forget about it and move on, put my head in the sand, right? But I would say that the what I did and found out there, and I'm happy to share with anybody who reaches out, is to break it down into really small digestible chunks. You don't have to eat the entire elephant all at once. Just little pieces at a time. That's going to stack over time and lead to big wins for you and big movement. But it's really about just 1% better each day and learning a little bit each day. And the other piece, I had this kind of aha moment yesterday. I was out playing in my golf league. I get out a couple, let's see, handful of times a year to play, and after work during the week. And I was thinking about AI and learning AI and being overwhelmed. And it would remind me a lot of, if you had never played golf and somebody invites you to go out golfing, and you never, like, you might have seen it on TV, but you don't know anything else about it. If they're going to take you out to Augusta and play the Masters course, you are gonna be feeling really overwhelmed and gonna be like, nope, I am not even gonna go try, right? But if you find the resources and you find the right people to network and connect with and read online and start engaging with it, you start learning, like, okay, what are the things that I need? Well, I'm going to need golf shoes, I need the right attire, I need glove, I need a bag, I need all these specific clubs and types and all of that. Talking to somebody who's just a little further ahead of you in their journey is perfect, because then you're going to get that foundational. Okay, I got the right toolkit, I've got the right things that I need to do this. And then you start learning, okay, well, go hit the driving range, and you start with one area, start with your a low wedge, the pitching wedge, just pop that out and start getting some lessons, wrap it on there. You're not going to be able to go out on a PGA professional course from never playing before and just hop out there and be there. You got to really do it in a sequential, methodical way and find people and resources that can give you the step by step pieces of how they did it along the way. And that's really how I'm framing my business is, I'll be able to get you out there on the PGA Tour course eventually, but there's a lot of people out there who don't even know what equipment, what tools they need, how to even put all that together to make a complete set to go out and start practicing. So let's just get it to the point where you can grab the pitching wedge and go out and practice on the range, get good at that, and then we'll just keep layering skills on top of that, and that will be the unlock to get to the final end result and keep up. Or in right now, it's an opportunity to stay way ahead of your competition, like to either
Amazing.
stay or get ahead of your competition if you're doing this right now.
Amazing. Hey, look, just to kind of wrap things up here, um, if you take one thing, man, just reach out to Shane, ask him for the cheat sheet, just to kind of start dabbling into how AI can enable the smallest of things in your day to day. For myself, I mean, if there are any SEOs out there, content writers, web dev folks out there, I think the game is changing, is going to change fast. So definitely reach out, because there are some um, in-house tools that we can build together, that I've already built and that I can share, that allows us to reverse engineer the ways that these large language models, in particular Google AI mode, is retrieving information from our websites to present it in their results. It's so important for us as an SEO community to know that. Um, that way, we're not just employing traditional SEO tactics on a much more advanced search ecosystem. So definitely reach out to either of us. And of course, if you're starting your own shop, always reach out to us. We are always willing and able to just talk and kind of relate to what y'all are going through. We're right in the thick of things right now, and it's always a treat when we're able to kind of connect with other folks in a similar boat.
Yeah, big time. And another nugget is, everybody get a hold of Sam Lee if you need help in the SEO realm, whether would be on the client side or you're in the community. There's going to be no better expert. Sam is tip of the spear in all of this, and the items that you dropped today are clear evidence that you are investing heavily and going to generate a ton of value for people and your communities that you're in. So highly recommend reaching out to Sam through LinkedIn and KeyRise Consulting. He is a wonderful person and a human being. So it's going to be just a beautiful relationship there for anybody who is in his world.
Thank you, my man. Well, until next time, take care, and thanks for everybody tuning in for this episode.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.